So what the hell is this?
It's a traditional white Tiki Hualien. I don't know what it is.
What's the significance of all this?
It's obviously some kind of native traditional thing, because anything that looks like that's always got something to do with some cultural native traditional thing.
Right. You know what I think it is?
What?
It represents the white man leaving China. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? It's
yeah, he's white.
Hey, I guess so.
So that's what we're talking about today.
We're talking about the exodus of foreigners out of China. And as you pointed out, we were having a discussion earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been like this before.
No. No, it's always been on the up and up.
Yeah.
Right? You have seen a very, very strong uptake of foreigners from places like the Philippines and places that traditionally were very difficult to get to China. You've seen a very strong exodus of Westerners leaving. Right?
Yeah, so people that come from Australia or England
Right.
or America.
Canada.
I got a couple of stories, anecdotal, we can go on about. Should we hit the road and talk about them?
Let's do it. It's better than this. We'll say goodbye to this guy. What do we name him? His name's like... What is his name? Tiki Tom?
Yeah, Tiki Tom. I like Tiki Tom. Okay, cheers, Tiki Tom. See you around.
Have fun.
By the way, guys, we'll put the Google Maps link for this area if you ever want to come see Tiki Tom.
It's not just Tiki Tom. It's actually a gorgeous, gorgeous area, and there's whitewater rafting and stuff here.
Yeah.
And camping.
So yeah, but you can say hi to him for us. And tell him you saw him on YouTube.
That sounded great, dude.
This bike.
We're having some issues with bikes. That one's like ready to die anyway. Mine's kind of fritzing out with the Speedo.
Well, we did go through a torrential downpour, didn't we?
Yeah, but I feel like a Japanese scooter should be able to deal with that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want to take pictures of Tiki Tom.
Yeah.
Have fun, kids.
Cheers, bye-bye.
So nice. Anyway.
Yeah. So there's a guy I know, and I'm going to use him as an example.
Okay.
He wouldn't mind if I mentioned his name anyway, because he's been very vocal about this anyway. He has been in China for about as long as me.
Okay.
But he's taken it a step further. He has a family. So he has a couple kids.
Okay.
I'd like to say there are 3 kids, but it's probably 2.
Okay, then just say 2.
Okay. Anyway, the thing is, he's got some kids. And he's been quite successful at, I'd like to say, sort of marketing and stuff. He has these events, and I've been to his events a number of times.
Okay.
And they're these cross-border summits. And basically what it is he organizes people that are, really well-known Amazon sellers and people that are involved in trade and dealing with China and stuff. And he talks to factories and things and speaks to the Chinese side. And he has these big seminars once a year called the Cross-Border Summit in Shenzhen. And they'll rent out a very big venue. And people come from all over the world to pop over and to talk trade. And then the Chinese businessmen will come in and, it's kind of one of those things. Thing is, he's just left China. Like very recently, like a month ago or something. And I had a long chat with him because we do hang out sometimes, and he was just like he can't justify staying in China anymore because he's getting so much pushback and it's so difficult to do things. Basically, in the beginning, the local government would actually sponsor the venue for his events,
right? Because
of course it's promoting cross-country trade, international trade. It's good for the Chinese economy,
right?
But then they started to pull funding. They're not going to help him with the venue anymore. So then he's like, okay, so he starts to pay for his own venue. Then they start to make it incredibly difficult for people to get visas, and that just puts everybody off, and it just makes it so difficult to do things. Like if you're trying to invite someone in to be a speaker, they're not like getting paid or anything, and then they have to now go through this lengthy, annoying visa process as well.
Right.
It really puts them off. So it got to the point where he was considering either moving the event to Hong Kong, because then no one would have to worry about that stuff, or just cancelling it altogether.
Right.
And the thing is, because of education for his children is the reason that he's actually moving. Oh, that looks like government or something. Yeah, anyway.
It's
It's nice out here, eh? Look at those rice
absolutely stunning. Stunning.
So he's basically moved to Thailand, I believe.
Okay.
And that's just because there's more opportunity for his children to get an international education without paying $10 billion a month or whatever, you know.
Right.
And it's a better environment for his kids to grow up. But someone who's so dedicated, because his kids are like, you know, they're not young. They're probably like 7 or something, you know.
Right.
He's stuck it out this far, and he's had so much invested in China, and he's just like, well, I'm out of here now, you know. It's a very good indicator as to what's going on. Like maybe you've got a couple stories.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want proof for yourself, just go on Google or even YouTube and type in "why I left China."
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to find videos like this before, by the way. Yeah. Maybe on, you know, the rare occasion or whatever. But if you see them, if you type that now, you're gonna see a lot of search results, and a lot of them from high-profile people like you just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
There's a guy, a famous guy actually. He was so in love with China and ancient Chinese culture, and he learned the language, all this kind of stuff. And he started a local newspaper in a town because he had experience with media and stuff like that, right? And at the end, you know, typical story, the locals took everything from him. The government banned his visa, and he's heartbroken and he has to leave, right?
Yeah.
When you hear things like that, you're like, shit, maybe China's not the place to be. But then you know, you go through life, everything kind of transpires as usual. You go through the usual visa hassle rigmarole, and you get the visa, and it's kind of like a band-aid, and you're like, okay, this year, let's get through this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
watch out for those dogs.
Little pup.
Cute puppy. Yeah.
Anyway, excuse me. So you go on and on and on, and everything is hunky-dory and it's totally fine, but you start hearing more and more of these stories, and you start to get worried.
Sure.
And then you start to look at the reasons why, and why are the foreigners leaving? Well, I'll tell you who's not leaving.
Okay.
It's the ESL teachers that get paid, you know, 10,000 RMB a month, and they get their apartment paid for, and they don't understand what's going on around them. They don't really speak the language. They don't integrate with society. They just go to class. They go buy their groceries, and they go home and watch movies on their Netflix or something, right?
Yeah.
The people that are leaving are the people that are actually invested and have things like a life and family, like you said.
Yeah.
And basically what's happening is, my speculation is that the higher powers that be are trying to make a statement that foreigners are not needed in China anymore.
Right.
Whether that's like damaging to the economy or not, it is a statement, because when you kick out people that are really, really invested and have a positive influence on China, there's got to be a reason behind that, right?
Sure.
So maybe it's a big FU to the Western powers. Maybe it's an FU to diplomacy, and we can do things ourselves. I don't know personally, but I do know about 3 people personally that have decided to leave, and their reasons are as follows. So a lot of the reason that foreigners are leaving China is because of internet censorship. And if you're in China, or you need to go to China for business or whatever you're going to do, the only way you're going to get past that censorship is to use a VPN. Thankfully, NordVPN, a company that we trust and use for our VPN needs, sponsored this video. If you go to nordvpn.com/ADVChina, you can get a massive discount on a subscription. But VPNs are not only just useful for China's censorship, VPNs can actually protect you, protect your sensitive data, and kind of keep a safety fence around what you do online so that other people, ISPs, and all that kind of stuff can't see your traffic. So also some very good practical uses are things like you want to access Netflix from a different country. You can actually change your IP to do that. You can also go and get cheaper plane tickets by hopping around different countries. So thank you to NordVPN. Thank you to you guys for supporting us, and we hope you enjoy the show.
And now, on with the show.
One, school got too expensive for their kids. So first they went to a private school, and the one private school in Huizhou it was like 30,000 RMB per semester, which, okay, I mean, that's pretty expensive, but it's not insane, right?
Yeah.
But the teachers there, the foreign teachers there, they were trying to provide a Western education, right? Like you get like an American diploma, basically. The problem was the majority of kids that were paying the money to go there also needed a Chinese diploma to say they graduated, and that school couldn't get the grant from the government because they're an American school. So the government stopped giving Chinese education diplomas, basically, right? So you go to the school, and your only option is that you have a diploma to go back to an American school.
Okay.
So it made it completely useless for the kids that were going to stay in China, the Chinese kids. But since they were the biggest money maker, that's obviously who they're going to cater to, right? So they're fighting tooth and nail to get this Chinese diploma thing. Doesn't work. Falls through. School shuts down. Now this kid, this foreign kid, this American kid, he's got to go to a Chinese school, right?
Right.
He's got to pay top dollar because he's not a citizen. And the level of education is staggeringly poor. So what's a successful father with a factory is supposed to do? He can sell his factory, he can leave and move on.
Sure.
And that's what he did, right? It's kind of heartbreaking for them because they enjoyed living there, but it's stupid. There was no point. Next, somebody had to leave because they had a medical issue, right? So they spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of RMB trying to fix their stomach. They had a stomach problem. And the reason that they had a stomach problem was that the Chinese doctor actually did an unnecessary surgery.
Oh, right.
When they went back home, they found out, you know, to basically check on this, they found out that it was totally unnecessary and could have been treated with certain drugs. So they basically cut out more than half of his stomach, and then he ended up getting terminally ill.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Having to go back home. Number three, it was a political situation. This person had been, I'm not going to say caught, but had been posting things on social media.
Right.
Not exposés or anything, but sharing articles, maybe from the New York Times or one of these. And because he was involved in education, he actually, the university called him out on it, called him into the office, and then he ended up at the PSB, and they're questioning him and stuff, and they ended up canceling. I'm not going to say canceling, but they shortened his visa stay.
Right.
And so basically, he's not allowed to come back. They say it's for like a certain amount of years or whatever, but he's definitely not allowed to come back. And they make examples out of these people, right? So all the other foreign staff at this university were terrified.
Correct.
And they stopped posting things and stopped talking to people on Facebook. And it's just, it's a climate of paranoia. It's a climate of absolute nonsense. And people are just getting tired of it.
Yeah. What about the third thing? Oh, that was the third thing, right?
Yeah, that was the third one.
Okay. Well, you know, the other day when I was going for my... we mentioned this in a previous episode, but just again, it's a visa thing as well. They're making it very tough.
Right.
When I was going to get my new visa, my spousal visa, I met a subscriber in the Public Security Bureau. I actually took a video with him. And he submitted his documents at the same time as me. And he just contacted me very distraught the other day to say that his visa was denied and they didn't tell him why. Right. And they gave him a 10-day stamp in his passport to say you've got 10 days to get out and go back home, and you can apply again in your own country. Right. And nobody could give him a reason why, and that's the problem. There's no transparency. Right. Because he went by the rules. He didn't do anything bad.
Around, you know? Right.
But there've been quite a few cases where visas have been shortened and cancelled.
The truck bin.
Yeah, that German guy he was stupid. He went and did like a kind of a mini documentary about the human rights lawyers in China.
I mean, more power to him. He's doing God's work.
But that's just stupid. That's literally saying deport me, you know?
Right.
I'm surprised he wasn't detained, you know?
Right. I mean, if he was smart about it, he would have released it abroad.
Yeah. But his visa and his residence permit were actually shortened and he was kicked out.
Right.
Yeah, silly guy, silly bugger. But yeah, look, this Exodus thing's real. And I've got lots of friends that I've known for years. And it's not the fly-by-night English teachers or the travel bloggers who come and stick around for like a couple of months and like, oh, I love China, it's so amazing, look at the Great Wall, blah, blah, blah. You know, they leave because they're bored or they're going on to greener pastures. It's the people that have invested their entire life into China. Right. By buying a house, buying a car. Right. You know, having children here. Right. Getting married here. Right. The people that really are invested in China are the ones that are starting to leave, and that's a sign that something is wrong. Right. You know what I mean? Right. It's hard to hold on. Like I said, if a better opportunity comes along, I'm definitely out of there too. You know, it's just a matter of time.
That's a shame, but man, it's just like the government's just making it so difficult. Yeah. And it's so hard to apologize for them, but it's just getting so bad. Yeah, you can't apologize to them. It's becoming a more hostile environment for foreigners, especially just on the visa front, you know? Right. Like your average person still going to treat you well, it's still going to be okay, but like the government is kind of actively pushing rhetoric, anti-foreigner rhetoric, which is just starting to become uncomfortable, and all the communist insignia and stuff are popping up everywhere, man. It's nuts. Yeah. I don't remember that. No. It's such a breath of fresh air to be here in Taiwan. Look at what we're riding through, right? I know. It's beautiful, and I don't see any big signs of Xi Jinping on the side of the road saying like 12
thoughts of
Right.
this and that, or like
Or like,
Chinese.
uphold the values of socialism.
Yes, the 12 core socialist values, you know, and like
Right.
socialism with Chinese characteristics, and you know, all this kind of
Right.
nonsense.
I also don't see them knocking down churches.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing tons of churches around here and stuff. It's nice.
Right.
Yeah, so it is what it is. Foreigners are leaving China en masse. We may be joining them if things continue the way they're going, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we'd like to just bring this to your guys' attention just to let you know that it is a thing.
Yeah, I wanted to say one last thing actually. It
Yeah.
was, if you read the news, it's usually big politics, right?
Yeah.
That's why YouTube is so important, and that's why I think that's why China really doesn't like us and doesn't want us
Sure.
to talk about this kind of stuff, is because you can read the news, you can turn the news on, and you can read about there's this big sweeping political change, or this happened, the government leader said this and this and this, but we're actually talking about something that probably 99% chance doesn't affect you at all as an audience, but we're pretty much the only people talking about it.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, like nobody cares in Wall Street Journal about one man's story about how foreigners left China, right?
Sure.
But we can tell you that these stories are true. They're absolutely true. And I really want to see.
Yeah.
I wish I could like have a power to like flip 10 years in the future and just see the state of China, or at least the state of foreigners in China, because I wonder if there's going to be any left.
Yeah, I mean, you have to also realize that history repeats itself, man.
Right.
And we've been living in this situation in China for a very long time, where we're feeling pretty safe to be there and everything's
Right.
cool. But you know that China's got a big chip on its shoulder with its 200 years of humiliation.
Right.
They do hold foreigners to blame for like all the troubles that they face.
Right.
And although we had nothing to do with that, you know, we're still foreigners. And remember the Boxer Rebellion and all that kind of stuff? It kind of started in the same way, starting to get rid of foreigners, and then, you know, I think we're looking at something like that, like a Boxer Rebellion 2.0 just bubbling on the horizon. What do you
I really
reckon?
hope not, but there's a church example.
There's a church. That's kind of cool. Yeah, let's hope that I'm just talking absolute nonsense, but it just feels that way sometimes. Maybe I'm just overreacting, you know?
Well, it's tough to say you're overreacting when you're living in it.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true. Yeah, so I mean, on that lovely positive note, we can at least say we're driving through some absolutely gorgeous, beautiful areas here in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Anything you would like to tell our subscribers before we sign off?
Whether you agree with China and that, you know, foreigners are to blame for the centuries of humiliation, or you think that China needs to deal with this shit and stop taking it out on people trying to help the country, I think you'll agree with the latter. But I do know you agree with the fact that this is absolutely stunning, beautiful scenery, and it is almost serene and like medicine to be riding through this right now. But I hope you guys enjoy that medicine. I hope you guys enjoy our ranting and raving, because we're not just trying to you know, make ourselves feel better. We'd like to let you guys know the real situation in China. So if you did, subscribe and leave a like on this video and let us know down below what you thought.
Absolutely, absolutely. And whether or not you're the kind of guy who says, screw it, I'm going to stick it out anyway, and you know, stick it out for as long as possible, or you're the kind of guy who just kind of up and runs when, you know, adversity comes your way, we love you all the same. Ow! And as always, you know the drill. Stay awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for watching ADVChina. You can catch a new episode every single Monday at 1 p.m. EST. Up in the top right corner, you can watch another Lao 86 video, which comes out every Wednesday at 1 p.m. EST. And down below the Lao 86 video, you can watch Winston at SerpentZA every single Friday at 1 p.m. EST. Thanks.